This is a personal diary of my journey over 20 years of personal growth in the healing process. I have been working with a mentor, a channel called Soul of the Universe, best known as SOTU. I started working with them in 1996, working personally and in workshops called intensives for just that, intense work on personal growth. I can say now that my primary intent for the process was, and still is, about loving myself and to feel safe to be loved. That is an easy statement in general, but personally, I believe many have issues with just this topic for themselves. Along with the many intensives and personal readings, I have also attended 6 out-of-country journeys, and one of those in the United States, some taking from 10 to 21 days. Each trip was a piece of unlocking the puzzle of my goal. Others that attended had their own personal goals. As a group, we had the global growth for humanity and peace with enough for all. Trips I attended were in search of the Black Madonna in Europe, on the trail to Machu Picchu in Peru, the Dreaming Goddess of Malta, a monolithic tour of the realm of the British Isles, on the path of the Anasazi Indians, birth of real self in Costa Rica, and then another ultimate intensive in Malta. The next 3 stories are a peek into my path of my adventure. I hope you enjoy. It is far, far from over. Onto the bus by 6 a.m., off into the darkness, as Stonehenge can be lightly seen as we pull into the parking lot and see 2 large stones. It is smaller than I thought it would be. How often I have thought about Stonehenge since I was a boy. I pictured something huge, though the massive stones are more of an illusion. I notice it get bigger as we approach. The stones are still quite big. As I strolled around the stones, I was drawn to a particular set of stones next to each other with a large stone on top. There are at least 3 other sets of these, but I kept being drawn to one in particular. At first I thought it would be cool to stand inside the stones. I fit quite nicely there. I took out my crystal and adjusted to the energy. Closed my eyes to feel what I could feel, hear what I could hear, and see what I could see. In my mind's eye, I could see an hourglass-shaped vortex, spinning counterclockwise on top and clockwise on the bottom. I picture myself standing in the center of the vortex, with the center at my solar plexus. As I wander my focus around the outside of the Stonehenge, as I stand between the 2 stones, I could sense many, even thousands, of devic energies in attendance here today. So many that I couldn't even distinguish one from the other. It was like a homecoming. I thought it was suggested that I was the guest of honor, and I was paying respects. We travel through Wales to the Anglesey Island, where we visit the Burn Selly Du, a man-made tomb. The cave is quite small for our group, so I put myself into a corner. I set my intent of harm to none and asked for assistance from my guides. When I close my eyes, I see a yellowish white-orange light energy in front of me. I mentioned it to the group and no one else can see it. I identified with this energy that I have been working with for a number of months when I started channeling and learning to channel at home. I have a bit of fear in the past engaging this energy, but no fear this time through here in this cave. I feel safe. The same golden light is outside when I close my eyes and ponder. It is a rainy day, cold and damp. We are standing in front of a large mound, a tomb in the midst of sheep all around us. What pops into my mind is forgiveness and surprise, surprise. Forgiveness of the mother. Am I willing to forgive the mother? To give up the anger, the rage, the forgiveness of my mother for what she has done to me in the past? It is something to ponder. It's a rainy day indeed, as we visit the Barnara Clara Cairns. It feels like a fairyland. The sight of 3 tombs, they are positioned as if a ley line runs between them, 2 on one side and the middle one on the other side of the ley line. This site is also surrounded by trees inside the fenced-in area. The heritage of these trees have been here for years and years as they keep regenerating themselves. Because of the rain, I walk under the trees, but there are many here. You can feel them. You could even see them. Because of the mist, the energies, they kind of stand out. They flicker in the light. There may be 13 of us in the physical sense, but there are many others visiting. This is indeed a very special place. Somebody points out a circle of stones with a little sign that claims to be a fairy mound, though I think not. As I'm leaving, I notice a mound, a little mound with a little hole. Now that's a fairy mound indeed. You could even see them coming in and out. The afternoon brought us to the Tomb of the Eagles. As we drove towards the site, I felt the energy in my heart chakra start to ache. Shortly after that, tears flowed down my face, and I became quite emotional. The tomb has a narrow passage. Some could ride a skateboard down or crawl. I chose to stand outside on top of the center of the vortex. I started with connecting the energy from above and below through my solar plexus, and then standing in the vortex of rotating counterclockwise and clockwise energy. With my higher self and my guides standing beside me on each side, they merged with me in a single axis. Through thought, word, and feeling, I forgave mothers all over the world, as I forgave my mother for what they have done to me. Although this was just the beginning, later I would say, this was just a tip of the iceberg of forgiving my mother. I visualized the vortex change rotation to clockwise and counterclockwise. We feel this energy moving throughout the planet. As if I stood on the tomb, I could see the ocean, I could see the emotions of the planet. It has been quite the year since the United Kingdom journey. After a profound experience in the United Kingdom, I returned to my apprenticeship with SOTU to train and emerge as a channel. Since then, I have been doing fairy readings, both by phone and in person, at various shows around New England. As I prepare for this trip, I pay more attention to the weather and how it changes with the emotional dynamics of its people. I have also focused more on the metaphysics of the Native American Indian culture, assuming that this will help identifying the energies of the Anasazi's trip. I have also purchased a Native American flute from a local native store. It seemed days when I became skilled at playing the flute. As I am not a master, I am not a goof either. I have found a few times when my flute playing is quite profound. I sense my energy being a wide column of golden light. The fairy is expansive, like a donut. Ooh, donuts. I was up at 4 a.m. I was sitting on the corner of my bed staring out the window at the pouring rain. I was wondering if we'll even go out to Chimney Rock today, as I didn't see any lights in the other RVs. Then I saw Adriana bobbing from RV to RV, checking to see if we were all awake. My heart chakra was aching since we arrived. I started a cleansing of all my chakras, starting with the crown and finishing with the root. I heard a voice that the guardians of the gate were waiting for all of us. As the other tourists were turned away, we were allowed into the state park, even though it was pouring rain. As we drove up the park road, I sensed a line of welcoming energies. We stopped at the ranger station, and I asked if I could play my flute for a moment. Because of the rain on the mountain, we were surrounded by fog. It's like something of a dream. As we started to climb, I still began to feel a bit fuzzy. We reached a plateau where the others continued to climb. I found a great rock to sit on and play my flute. As I play, I see energies all around me, responding to the music. Then an interesting thing happened. I noticed that my energy expands into a large globe. I continue to play at various locations throughout the mountain as we stroll around. As we pulled away from the chimney rock, I said, "This is goodbye." The response was that the energy said that this was not goodbye. We are going with you. As I've experienced at powwow grounds in the past, earth energies being locked into a dogma of the Native Americans of today. The day after, in the evening, after we experienced the Council of the 12 up on Chimney Rock, we create a circle around a campfire. I'm a bit vague as the details of this group of energies, only to believe they represent the Nanasazis. A friend named Janet created 7 oracles of various materials, including pottery shards. The channel, Josh, who does Sotu, Soul of the Universe, will channel the 6 of the 12. The other 6 will be channeled by 6 of us. Myself is the only male channeling the energy. I pay little attention to the other channels as I was focused on my own, allowing the energy to throw through and sense the energy's feeling. The feelings were similar to my own. I was judging myself, the humiliation of bearing my feelings to the woman. Da da da. I start again. Clear the energy, walk backwards, sit in the chair, let the energy flow. Same energy, same feeling, da-da-da-da. I kept repeating this over and over in my head, trying to become, allowing the info to flow from the channel, from the energy, from the Native American. Same energy, same feelings, same thing. I kept repeating over and over again until Sotu said, "Just speak. I hold the world in my arms. I hold the world in my hand. It is not safe for the true masculine to emerge. We feel vulnerable to expose our feelings to the world. To the feminine energy, we speak to be free," or something like that came out of my mouth. I take full responsibility to what I said. I had tremendous sadness. Tremendous sadness. Even to this day, years later, I can still feel the sadness and the tears that I experienced then. Mostly by the way that things are with Native Americans in the world. When the energy left me and vibration levels went to normal, heck, what was normal then? This energy was going to be with me for a long time to come. I was uncomfortably trembling. I bolted to the men's room to to be alone, talk to myself, to stroll around. Sadness, so sadness. I was in tears that night. I was in tears a lot that night. It may take some time in seeing the shift of releasing the dogma of the Native Indian culture. As for myself, I have started changing my attitude and my efforts. I have the understanding in order for a true masculine to emerge, we must take full responsibility in how we represent ourselves, emotionally, physically, and in speech, thought, word, feeling. Aboard American Airlines plane in Boston, I was supposed to fly from JFK when American Airlines canceled my flight and put me on another flight without notice. This change will prevent me from reaching my connecting flight with Sansa Air in San Jose, Costa Rica, and arrive at the Bosque a day early. Last year I had some difficulty adjusting to the change in Earth energy and altitude. This year I chose to fly in a day early and a day later. many obstacles on this trip in getting there. Just paying for this trip had been a challenge, paying EJA and the airlines in pieces with a personal loan from some friends. Understanding we create our own reality 100%. Why is my negative ego making it so difficult to make this journey, knowing that these trips lead to higher levels of healing and growth? This year, I have developed my experience as a channel teacher, also adding artist, developing sacred geometry objects out of copper, brass, and other materials, such as the Janisa crystal, dowsing rods, and fairy crystals. The fairy crystals are of my own creation. I have been selling both at my booth and to local store. I have also been working on developing a relationship of trust with a deity energy that I picked up last year. They are called now Henry. Their color signature is an amethyst purple. This is a color from which I recall sensing for many years, going back to experiences I've had with dolphins. During readings, Henry assists me in seeing emotional ties and family trees, particularly through a mother to grandmother. We finally arrive at the Bosque del Carbo resort, in which the group of us are spread across in different little cabins in the woods. Not really in the woods, maybe in the jungle. The first two sessions are at the Casa Mira homestead. A tough walk for a big guy like me. Others brought their bathing suits, though I'm a bit self-conscious about my overweightness appearance. It has been some time since I've been swimming, so I didn't bring my suit up to the house. Part of the Rose Garden meditation was descending down a revolving staircase. My higher self behind me urging me to continue down the stairs. The intent of this session is the healing of the child. My child was hurt about 6 years old when my mother divorced my father, and instead of just that, I was brought up with the belief that my father died then, with the support system of my family and friends to maintain the lie in my presence until I was 23 years old. And then it was a joke that I was not aware of the truth. Once I received a birthday card from my father that was supposed to be dead in the mail. I just left it open in the pile of mail. Neither my mother or anybody else told me the truth. The child always blames themselves for the dysfunction of their parent, difficulty sleeping that night, too much to process, or just the roar of the waves crashing on the shore. I usually go to sleep much later, but once it gets dark there's little to do. It was an interesting sit out on the back porch and watching the forest wake up. I head over that bridge. I had a bit of a backache heading back up the hill to the sitting area. This afternoon's session was about the connecting to the goddess. First the root, then the second chakra. Discussions about the fear of nature, interesting stroll through the forest over the suspended bridge to be here and now. So too with discussing something about various things, asking something about their child, seeing her naked, or other such things. Then another woman openly said that her child had seen her naked. For example, if the child was coughing, that she wouldn't waste time to dress, to go take care of the kid's needs. Just how often did the child cough, and how often was she seen naked? So to direct the discussion towards her for some time, though my focus had shifted to my own thoughts. The discussion had triggered a memory that was only a scratch of a few months before, the memory from my adolescence, a memory between me and just my mother and me. This one only happened when we were alone. It wasn't because I was coughing or choking. I don't know her motivation or justification, and perhaps she was trying to see if I was gay, like my brother, or perhaps she was molested by her father or some other man in her adolescence. In all, it was a screwed up thing to do. As I sat there remotely paying little attention to this woman's denying the possibility of abuse, I remembered that the more I remembered, the more I got angry and pissed off, and really at both my mother and this lady. I remembered my mother flaunting her naked body to me at her sheer nightgown, often bending. It all popped into my head with all the emotions, and I was quite angry about it, angry at both of them. I was holding myself so hard I was leaving marks to ask me to unfold my arms and open up my heart chakra. I asked how can I focus on a meditation. They said to me, just listen. If there was any night for a drink, it was this one, pondering it often. Then I chose a club soda. So too suggested to everyone that standing out in the rain would be a cleansing shower, washing away all you wish. Well, what are the chances that would rain again like it did the other night? I woke up later to another rainstorm, pounding away at the metal roof. I was not afraid, more excited, an opportunity. It was a light enough to see where the deck ends, wouldn't wish to fall off into the jungle. I walked out and stood in the rain with my hands to the sky, water pouring all over me. It was warm, as if it was a garden shower. Oh yeah, I am in a garden shower. May I have been out there for more than an hour at least, feeling full of energy. I am a new person. After the rain ended, I went back to sleep. At sunrise, I went out on the deck and played my flute to the animals, especially the hollering monkey. We bantered back and forth without sound. At sunrise, we went out on the deck and played my flute to the animals, especially the hollering monkey. We bantered back and forth with our sounds. I hope the ladies in Casamara are awake. Since these trips, I have brought love into my life, manifested a gnome home surrounded by nature, able to go from an introvert to an extrovert, stand up and to be heard and to be seen.